Distilled shenanigans. Distilled shenanigans. Hi everyone! My name's Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 1 of Distilled Shenanigans. Look, Mom, it finally happened! Laura finally launched an episode. I'm sure friends and family are so excited that maybe I'll stop talking about it all the time. Can't guarantee anything, guys. This is Distilled Shenanigans is going to be life. I am so excited to get it off the ground, though. I have so much vision for what I want to do with this that my brain's going to explode, especially because I don't know how to really do any of it yet. I'm learning so much, and it's been such a great process and frustrating process that I'm so glad to finally get you on the bandwagon and take you along for the ride. How did we land on the Manhattan monologues for the very first episode? That is what started it all. The Manhattan started it all. In 2019, my friend Lindsay decided that she wanted to honor her grandparents by trying to get a taste for a Manhattan. So we decided that we would try Manhattans at most establishments in the city of Lansing. And it turned out that most establishments in the city of Lansing made a Manhattan the exact same way, with the exact same bourbon or whiskey. Well, it was Bullet at the time. Bullet was huge in 2019 here in Lansing. So everybody was using the same stuff, and it was just so monotonous. After our 2019 Manhattan spree, COVID hit. Ah, lovely COVID. I was living alone at the time, and there are only 2 places that I could go to talk to people in person. And it was like the grocery store or the liquor store. So like every good American, or at least according to the liquor sales from that time frame, I went to the liquor store and talked to the folks there about whiskey. And I started buying a bottle of whiskey when I would go. So over the course of that time frame, I acquired 53 bottles of whiskey, bourbons, and ryes. And it was fun. It was fun. It was kind of expensive, but I wasn't doing anything else, so kind of fit the budget. And here we go. COVID ended, and I still love whiskey, and I still love cocktails, and I don't buy as many bottles now, but that's okay. That is okay. So what do I do with these 53 bottles of bourbon, whiskey, rye? I just love having people over, and that's a lie. It can be fun to come over to my house for a party. I'll give everybody little 1/4 ounce tastes of the different stuff, and if someone finds something they really like, I write their name on the back of the bottle, and next time they come over, I make them a cocktail. It's pretty easy, and that way I know I'm going to make somebody a drink that they're going to really enjoy, and hopefully they like a bourbon or rye that I don't like. I don't like every bottle in my collection. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it doesn't fit my taste buds. And it doesn't have to. You do not have to like every bottle that comes off the shelf. They're so widely variable in their flavors and profiles that, I'd be shocked if you did like every whiskey you tried. So post-COVID, it was very interesting because we started cocktailing out and about. And I learned real fast that not all restaurants and bars cocktail equally. Nowadays, some of these cocktails are like $14 a piece. So I don't want you to be super disappointed if I talked about something and you get it and you're like, never doing that again. Just kind of be aware of what kind of establishment you're going to. Like if you're going to a craft beer place, they're probably not going to sling the best cocktail. Because, it's an art that is not non-negotiable on the ratios. So if they are not measuring, I would not order a classic cocktails because all those ratios have to be correct. Laura, when are we going to learn about the whiskeys? Patience, divas, patience. The goal for the first few episodes are going to be kind of base layers, the foundation, so that we can really start talking about whiskey. We're going to talk about the distilling process. We're going to talk about how to taste. We're going to talk about terms. We're going to talk about, this is going to be fun. We're going to talk about whiskey, its cousins, and its second cousins. Kind of look at that family tree so that you can kind of get a feel for how it's all related. And from there, we're going to start tasting the whiskey and the bourbons and the ryes. I also plan on putting together, as we do these tastings, a chart. Got a nice whiteboard that we're going to chart different profiles on there so you might understand, that's why I like Woodford and not Knob Creek, or that's why I like a Weller or a Larceny or Eagle Rare. Like, they're all over in that flavor profile. And as soon as you can start seeing where they fall within there, you'll start understanding why you might like some whiskeys more than others. So we'll be doing that. We're going to start out on the whiteboard until I can figure out maybe a more digital format to put it in. If I try and make everything perfect before I start, we'll start sometime in 2032. And I'm really excited to bring you along for the ride. Now it's time for Libation Legends, coming to you from Lulu's Lounge. Today, as you might have guessed already, we're going to do the story of the Manhattan. This story is taken from liquor.com and is called Behind the Drink, The Manhattan, written by Gary Regan. Whoever it was that conjured up the Manhattan, that classic potion that calls for skillfully integrating American whiskey with sweet vermouth and aromatic bitters, came up with a drink that's truly glorious. One thing we're pretty sure of is the drink had reared its beautiful head by the 1880s, and we also know that it was one of the very first cocktails that called for vermouth as a modifier. Oh, dear sweet vermouth. The Manhattan predates other vermouth greats like the Martini, the Martinez, the Rob Roy, and the Bobby Burns. It is the king of vermouth drinks, the ruler of the realm. My God, I do love Manhattans. There's a chance that the Manhattan was invented at the Manhattan Club in New York. And the club's official story makes that claim. According to popular legend, the recipe was created there for a party thrown in 1874 by Jenny Jerome, aka Lady Randolph Churchill, Winston Churchill's mother. But no matter what anyone tells you, and this story is often seen in print, do not believe it. Don't believe it. As Liquor.com advisor David Wondrich pointed out in his book Imbibe, Lady Randolph was in England about to give birth to little Winnie. At the time, she was supposed to be partying in the Big Apple. Say that's pretty suspect, huh? The best lead we have on the true birth of the drink is from a story written by William F. Mulhall, a bartender who plied his trade in New York's famous Hoffman House for more than 30 years, starting in the early 1880s. The Manhattan cocktail was invented by a man named Black who kept a place 10 doors below Houston Street on Broadway in the 1860s, probably the most famous drink in the world in its time, Mulhall wrote. Even though Mulhall's account comes decades after the drink appeared on the scene, we do know that the man was a bona fide bartender. And if you can't trust a bartender, I ask you, who can you trust? There you have it, the story of the Manhattan. I really hope you enjoyed episode 1 of Distilled Shenanigans. Hopefully there's going to be many more where this came from. I'm so excited to share everything with you guys that I can barely contain myself and can't wait to make more. And I want to leave you with this. You only get one shot. Make it top shelf. Cheers, everyone.